Why Chargepoint stock will soar to $3,000 per share by 2030. Okay guys, so I posted a previous video on about why I thought Chargepoint stock, that's Switchback Energy, the SPAT that is going to do a merger with Chargepoint. This merger is supposed to close by the end of the year, but I've seen some discrepancy. Some other sources say the merger will close in early January. So I'm not 100% sure guys, but I'm pretty sure that this merger should close hopefully within the next 30 days or so. And I got a lot of flack in that previous video. A lot of you guys said that I was clickbaiting. A lot of you guys said that I was being outrageous and unrealistic with these claims. And if you guys been watching any of my previous videos on Chargepoint SBE stock, hopefully I kind of explained why I think $3,000 is a realistic price target at the end of this decade. So for some of you guys that are new to the channel, I realize I got a lot of views on that last video, and perhaps some of you are first time visitors to my channel and you've never seen any of my content before. I figured I'd kind of back things up and give you guys a more comprehensive view, but you can always check out some of those previous videos. I think I did a pretty good job of explaining why Chargepoint is going to be a massive potential 100-bagger stock, guys. So I'm calling this on this channel as December 2020. I think Chargepoint will be a 100-bagger. So let's go over why exactly I came up with this number. So first off, let's just start at the beginning with what we're dealing with EVs in the first place. So to explain this, I'm going to use charts, guys. So basically what we're dealing is we're right here. So in 2020, as you can see here, we're at the first inning of the EV revolution. Now, I know this is really hard to conceptualize, but the best example I'll give you guys is think about the pre-smartphone era. So, you know, the pre-smartphone era, I was in high school and I had an old school Nokia phone. And I remember one of my friends, he had this goofy looking Palm Pilot, and I remember another guy had a BlackBerry. And I thought it was just absolutely ridiculous to have all these features on your cell phone. You know, I had one of those old school Nokia phones and it was handy and it got the job done. I could even play the Snake game on the phone. But I wasn't thinking about the future. I wasn't thinking how things would change. Now, fast forward today, you know, my 15th anniversary from graduating from high school just passed a few months ago, and now no one uses these old outdated Nokia phones. Nokia was like the market leader back when I was in high school, and now Apple is the king of cell phones. So, you know, things can change so fast, whereas Nokia at the time was a huge company. Now they're struggling, and Apple back when I was in high school was basically, you know, just getting started. Now they're worth $2 trillion. So a lot can change when technologies change. So if we take a look at this chart, we see that there are going to be tens of millions of new electric vehicles on the road. And this is worldwide. And this isn't just in the United States or Europe or in developed countries. This is everywhere. Every country is going to try to have electric vehicles become mainstream. People are serious about climate change. They're trying to reduce carbon emissions. This isn't an if, but when. So obviously some countries will take longer than others, and I expect the U.S. to probably be in the forefront because the U.S. and Joe Biden, things like that. Joe Biden, the president-elect, talked about how important it was to go green, but all of these cars are going to need to be charged. So why is Chargepoint in such an amazing position? Well, let's take a little bit look of kind of some of these specs that the company has come out with, and we can take a look at why I came up with this share price. So if we take a look here, we see the EV charging infrastructure. This is posted by Global Newswire. It says the EV infrastructure is projected to generate a revenue of $18 billion by 2026, guys. And right now it says that according to the 2019 numbers, that number is just under $2 billion. So this is a ridiculous growth rate in EV charging companies. Charging companies are going to make money hand over fist because simply you can really not drive your electric vehicle unless it's charged. If you're going to charge your vehicle at home, you need to purchase a home charger. You know, obviously Tesla and things like that, they have their own supercharging networks, but Tesla is not going to be 100% of the global vehicle sales. And a lot of companies are already using ChargePoint's technology, and a lot of businesses are also buying their hardware and using the software. And if you guys take a look at if you guys live in the United States and you take a look at, you know, charging stations near me, I guarantee you're going to see a lot of ChargePoint stations in your neighborhood. And that number is only going to increase over time as this graph increases over time. So right now, Chargepoint is continually to add more stations, and they have a 73% market share in the United States and Europe. This is basically pure dominance in an industry that is going to grow out of control in the future. And my prediction is by 2035, 2040, if you don't have an electric car, you're going to be considered like not cool, not hip. People are going to be looking at you like, I don't understand why you don't have an electric car. It's the same thing with the smartphone boom. Now if you have an old school Nokia phone, people are thinking like, what's wrong? Are you struggling? Is money short? So that's kind of the same rubric I'm using. I'm kind of looking at the transition from these old school phones to smartphones, and the kind of from these ICE vehicles into electric vehicles. But now let's take a closer look at why actually I think Chargepoint can reach $3,000 per. So here we are. This is take a little bit look at the company itself. Now, first of all, what I want to look at is I want to look at revenue numbers. So as you can see here, it says the EV charging industry is accelerated to be $190 billion by 2030, guys. And it says we believe Chargepoint will continue to grow its strong market position as the EV industry evolves. Now, obviously, I think these numbers are too conservative, because it's not just cars, it's trucks, buses, tractors, vans, you name it. Anything that moves on wheels will need to be charged. So this number looks a little bit too conservative. I think that charging industry is going to be a lot bigger. And one of the more important things to look at is when we're looking at a stock like this, we're looking at how fast is the company going to grow and what the compounded annual growth rates is, because this can kind of help us determine what the stock price is going to be. So if we take a look here, it says Chargepoint operates over 115,000 charging points, and they're aiming to increase that by 2.5 million by 2025, guys. From just over 100,000 to 2.5 million in 5 years. So how much more by 2030? So as you can see here, if the company is literally increasing the amount of charging networks that they have almost 20-fold in 5 years, let's say they do, obviously it might be difficult to do 20-fold again by 2030, but if they're kind of growing at the same rate, this company could have, almost maybe tens of millions of charging ports all over the globe, and just have a huge footprint in this $190 billion industry, which I think is too conservative of a number. So now what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit more about those compounded annual growth rates. Okay, so now let's take a look at the compounded annual growth rates for Tesla. So why Tesla? Well, Tesla is a market leader in the electric vehicle space. Everybody knows, if you guys have been following my channel or you're familiar with electric cars, you're probably familiar with Tesla, and they're a nice benchmark. Now, obviously these numbers are just an extrapolation, but I think there's a lot of value in this statistic, and I'm going to show you guys why. So if you take a look at here, Tesla stock over the last 10 years has done a compounded annual growth rate of 60%. That's right, guys. Tesla stock has returned 60% on average each of the last 10 years, and of course this year it's run up a ton. So now let's use another number. So if we head over here and take a look at what Chargepoint appears to grow at, their revenue is going to be approximately, they estimate, around 58% compounded annual growth rate until 2026. So what do these numbers mean? Well, obviously stock prices reflect the underlying business, and Chargepoint plans to become profitable by 2024, 2025. And if they continue to grow their revenue at this clip, I don't see any reason why the stock price can't follow those returns. This stock is not just a number on a ticker screen. It's an ownership in a real business. So I like to, when I take a look at stocks I'm trying to buy, I try to look at companies that are going to grow at a high clip. So I'm looking for at least 20, 30, 40% compounded annual growth rates. 58% is just remarkable, and it just reminds me of Tesla. So now that you kind of taking all this in, let's get to where the $3,000 stock price is. So what I like to use a very handy tool. It's called the reverse compounded annual growth calculator. So guys, obviously to figure out a stock price, what I like to do is I like to type in the stock price that is currently trading at. Then I like to say what it could potentially grow at in the future. And then I type in the number of years, and then I hit calculate. So currently Chargepoint is, let's say it's trading at around $35 per share. And let's say that, they said the compounded annual growth rates would be around 58%. And then All we have to do is type in 10 years. So obviously this is an extrapolation, this isn't an exact number, and I actually put in some of these numbers earlier with a little bit higher compound annual growth rate, and it came to 3,700, but I'm going to actually drop that compound annual growth rate, use the numbers that was reflected in Chargepoint's presentation. So all I do is I hit calculate, and this has pumped out a share price of $3,393. So we can take a look here, we can see how that growth rate compounds over time. So it starts at $35, and then 2021 potentially $55, and then as you can see here, it continues grinding up, and then by year 10 we're sitting at over $3,000 a share. So actually, according to these calculations, assuming the company can grow at a rate similar, once again similar to what Tesla's been doing, and remember now that this is the largest charging network in the planet, I would assume that they can grow, just as fast, if not faster, than Tesla, which has a lot of competitors that are entering the EV space in the next couple of years. So as you can see here, guys, that's where I got the price target from. So I actually talked a lot about this in some previous videos, but I want to actually make this video and kind of bring everything together, because I felt like in the previous video, I felt like a lot of people thought I was just clickbaiting, guys, and like I said, I make these videos because, like I said, for a lot of these companies, I personally own shares in Chargepoint, and I personally own shares in a lot of other companies, and I'm just trying to give you guys good investment ideas that can make you a lot of money in the long run. That's the whole goal of this channel, is to make you guys money. So I hope I kind of cleared up everything. I hope I did a good job explaining things a little bit better. Be sure to check out some of the videos that I published in the past. There's a lot of good tidbits on Chargepoint. I've done it probably at least 7 or 8 videos, and every video adds kind of something new, and I kind of wanted to just bring everything back together. So if we take a look at Chargepoint stock, we can see that, year to date, guys, the merger hasn't even completed and the stock's already up 241%. So a lot of people were saying, well, that's ridiculous and things like that. But if you could see how those compounded annual growth rates, guys, compounded interest, it really compounds your returns over time. And this is exactly what we saw with Tesla. Believe it or not, Tesla at one point was like a $1, $2, $3 penny stock, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. So it can happen. It is possible that Chargepoint could have a price of around $3,000 by 2030, and that would put it at just around a $1 trillion market cap. And the final tidbit I'm going to talk about stocks in general is that as we're seeing now with the whole pandemic situation and governments racing to pass stimulus bills and stuff like that, there is a lot of quantitative easing that is going on. And quantitative easing is when governments are basically pumping a ton of money into the economy, and what this does is it drives prices up, and it also drives stock prices up. So right now we only have a handful of trillion-dollar companies, but by 2030 there's going to be dozens and dozens and dozens of trillion-dollar companies. So my job and my kind of rationale is to figure out which one of these companies, or which basket of companies, is going to be headed in that direction, and I think Chargepoint clearly fits the bill, guys. Like I said, this is just my personal opinion, guys. Make sure you do your own research and do your own diligence. Never invest money in a company that you don't feel strongly about. But I really am kind of salty on how I missed Apple back when I was in high school. The fact that I was so obsessed over those iPods and things like that. So this time around, I've got my eyes a lot wider open, and I'm starting to see that electrification is real, and we're going to see a huge trend in the future. And I want to get on Chargepoint now. I don't want to look back a couple years from now and say, why didn't I buy the stock? It was just kind of an obvious buy. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please smash the like button if you enjoy my content. Smash the red subscribe button to receive more videos from me. And are you guys subscribed to my daily stock watch newsletter? I post the 5 to 10 stocks I'm watching every trading day, Monday through Friday. Grab that by clicking the link in the description or going to investortrip.com/newsletter. And also, if you guys want to join my private Discord community, I set up a private Discord chat so we guys could talk about certain stocks that we're trading and investing in and things like that. You can grab that as well by clicking the link in the description as well, or going to investortrip.com/discord. So that's it, until next time, guys. Take care.